The NASCAR Xfinity Series returns Auto Club Speedway, and we see a ton of excitement and a lot of chaos in this race. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to your video. Just got done watching the Production Alliance 300 from Auto Club Speedway, one of the craziest races I've seen so far this year. Let's go ahead and jump into the reviews. So, starting off for the green flag drop in this race, a ton of drivers that have to go to the rear of the field. Jeffrey Earnhardt, Jeb Burton, Jesse Bougie, Joey Gase, Tommy Joe Martins, Josh Wins would all go to the rear for unapproved adjustments. Kyle Sieg would also go to the rear of the field for an engine change. And we also see a driver change take place where Timmy Ho, qualified in the car, had to be taken out for Joe Graf Jr. to be in the car due to money and stuff. Don't ask me why they made that change, but it is what it is. So let's jump into the race. So as a green flag drop, you had AJ Allmendinger on the outside and Cole Custer on the inside, and AJ Allmendinger was able to get the race lead. And then we see some contact take place between Austin Hill and I believe Josh Berry. Josh Berry gave a really big bump draft down the front stretch onto Austin Hill, and Austin Hill got onto the outside while really hard on lap 4 or 5 of this race. Really nothing they could do there. I mean, really nothing Austin Hill could do to Josh Berry. It's just really hard aggressive pushing. It's just hard racing early in the race. I think that Josh could have laid off a little bit, but it's Auto Club Speedway. Sometimes you're going to do that. And the first caution this race would actually come out for Landon Castle, basically having a fire come out when he was running around 10th or 11th position, having a good run early in the race. He was running up front, and unfortunately for Landon Castle, he basically blew up and brought out the first caution of this race. Also, Jeremy Clemency would come down pit road to take 4 fresh tires. Jeremy Clemency having a really strong run early in the race, but he have to come down to pit road to get fresh tires. And also, Jesse Woogie in the 34 car went to the garage due to, unfortunately, mechanical problems. So on the restart, you have AJ Allmendinger on the outside and Trevor Bayne on the inside. And we see basically Cole Custer also choosing outside as well. And Trevor Bayne gets a very strong restart, making his first start in the Xfinity Series in a couple years. And he was able to get the race lead. And then the second caution race for Trevor Bayne having the lead. The second caution race came out for Mason Matthews, who had a loose left front tire, who basically came into the outside wall and would bring out the caution in this race. And then after that, on the restart, Trevor Bayne leading on the inside, and go on the outside. You have Cole Custer, Noah Gragson on the inside, and Trevor Bayne was able to get the race lead. Cole Custer really started making a charge at Trevor Bayne. Trevor Bayne actually pulled away on the restart, but Cole Custer started reeling him back in. Then Trevor Bayne started pulling away from Cole Custer, and then Cole Custer started reeling back in. But it would not be enough, as coming off the corner, we would see Trevor Bayne hold off a hard charging Cole Custer into 07 SS Green Light Racing, and he would win stage 1 here at Auto Club Speedway. The pit stops would take place here, and we would see, of course, Trevor Bayne lead down pit road, but unfortunately, Trevor Bayne's pit crew now, one thing to note is none of the Cup guys at Joe Gibbs Racing, which is a very big surprise. None of the Joe Gibbs Racing pit crew members are allowed to race, so it's a new crew. So unfortunately, on the first pit stop, Trevor Bayne's pit crew really screwed up and went from leading the race all the way down to 10th position, which is really unfortunate because I think Trevor had a really good shot to win this race. So on the restart, because of that, you had Daniel Hemrick, who was leading on the outside, who actually won the race off pit road, and Ty Gibbs on the inside. And we would see a battle between Daniel Hemrick and Ty Gibbs. Basically, were side drafting down the backstretch. Then they came to turn number 3. Ty Gibbs tried to go up inside draft, and unfortunately got basically a car forced him to go up. And unfortunately, Ty Gibbs spun off some contact from Daniel Hemrick, and this will bring out the next caution this race. Ty Gibbs apologized for the incident on the radio. It is what it is. It's really hard racing as they're trying to get the race lead. Then we go back racing on lap 49 with Daniel Hemrick leading on the outside and Noah Gragson on the inside. And we see Cole Custer pass Daniel Hemrick for the race lead and start to pull away. And then the next caution series came out on lap 56 with Brandon Jones spinning from 6th position in turn number 4. The car just came around. He was just basically a little bit loose. He got up into the wall really high, and unfortunately spun out, bringing out the caution of this race. And then the restart took place with Cole Custer on the outside and Noah Gragson on the inside, and Cole Custer was able to get the race lead. And Cole Custer was able to pull away from Noah Gragson, and he was able to come off the corner and win stage 2 here at Auto Club Speedway. We see pit stops take place here at Auto Club Speedway. Of course, Cole Custer coming down pit road. But we see him because, of course, he's SS Green Light Racing. He was SHR repair car. He was an SS Green Light Racing car. Cole Custer, unfortunately, would basically lose a ton of spots and fall all the way back, Dave. Meanwhile, Brandon Jones will lead after pit stops because Brandon Jones actually decided to take some fresh tires as well. So he actually basically won the race off the road because he had fresher tires and got an advantage. So on the race, our lap 77, you have Brandon Jones lead the outside and Justin Allgaier on the inside. And Cole Custer makes some very daring moves. He goes from 8th to first, and he is able to go ahead and get the race lead. He made some really, really good moves in that 07 car, having the fastest car in the race, and he was able to get the race lead. And then when they were doing the green flag pit stop during the when they were doing the Crank It Up on Fox, we saw that AJ Allmendinger, he basically had to come down pit road for a possible loose wheel, and he had to come down pit road. It's unfortunate. AJ's car actually was really starting to come in late in the race. This really would unfortunately kind of take him out of contention to go for the victory. And then we stayed green for a very, very long time. And then unfortunately, the next incident took place was Kaz Grala. Kaz Grala, who really wasn't running up front to begin with the Alpha Prime Racing team, he had a flat left front tire, and unfortunately, he would have to come down pit road with that. And then the next caution race would come out with 49 laps to go in this race for Brandon Brown spinning. Brandon Brown got really, really loose. He was around 18th position at the time. He'd been falling back. He was up front in the top 15. Fortunately, he started falling back, and he just got loose off the corner and would bring out the caution in this race. And then we would see pit stops take place with Justin Allgaier actually in a race off the road, as Cole Custer would lose 6 spots on pit road, not as bad as last time, but he would be in 7th position. And then we actually see AJ Allmendinger. He decided to go ahead and take the wave around during that as well to try to get back in contention. So on the restart of Justin Allgaier on the outside and Brandon Jones on the inside, and we see Justin Allgaier get the race lead. And then Noah Gragson started battling his teammate really hard, and Noah Gragson was able to get the race lead. And then we see AJ Allmendinger come down pit road as well to basically come down pit road to get fresh tires as well, and lost a lap. And it looked like that Noah Gragson was going to go ahead and cruise the victory because Cole Custer was losing a lot of ground, and those guys were losing a lot of ground at the time. And unfortunately for Noah Gragson, Jay Buford spun out. Jay Buford spun out on the backstretch after getting loose in the seams and basically spun out. He was actually running really, really well around 10th position, having a really strong run, and he got into the inside wall really, really hard, bringing out the caution with technically 29 laps to go. So we actually see some strategy as well, because Ty Gibbs, who basically used all his tires up, and Anthony Alfredo decided to stay out while the rest of the leaders decided to come down pit road. But also Noah Gragson, who led on coming onto pit road, he unfortunately overshot his pit box and would lose a ton of spots. So on the restart with 22 laps to go, you have Ty Gibbs leading the outside and Justin Allgaier on the inside. And Justin Allgaier actually was able to get the lead. And we actually see Trevor Bayne really fight really, really hard for the race lead, but Justin Allgaier was able to hold on. And then on the next lap, we see Noah Gragson basically go from 13th to 1st. And was able to get the race lead. My setter actually at the time also got into the outside wall. I thought he was blowing an engine, but he got into the outside wall. Luckily for him, he basically was able to get back road, and a caution would not come out. Then with 17 laps to go, we would see Cole Custer really starting to make a ton of ground up on Noah Gragson. Cole Custer, of course, who had the fastest car in the race, he was starting to make a ton of ground up on the leaders, but Noah Gragson was able to get the lead. And then a lap later, Cole Custer got around Noah Gragson for the race lead with 16 laps to go. And it looks like that Cole Custer is going to go ahead and run away with this thing. And then with 10 laps to go, Mason Massey would lose a tire, bringing out the caution, have a flat tire with 10 laps to go in this race from debris. And then during this caution period, we see some strategy take place, because we see Ty Gibbs and Anthony Alfredo, who had a set of tires left. He decided to come into pit road and get his final set of tires, restarting from 24th. And then with 6 laps to go in the race on the restart, we see a lot of chaos and crazy. Trevor Bayne tried to challenge for the lead. And then we would see another caution come out for Brett Moffitt, who got into the outside wall from 9th position. And Anthony Alfredo had gotten up 11 positions on the restart. Then we would get to the first overtime restart of this race with Cole Custer on the inside and Trevor Bayne on the inside. And we would see Cole Custer have the race lead. Meanwhile, Anthony Alfredo got all the way up into the 9th position at that point in this race. He was really getting a bunch of good passes. Was out the 3rd or 4th at one point. We really couldn't get up there. And then as they were coming to the white flag, they did not make it to the white flag because Brandon Jones spun from 5th position basically into the tire barriers. And unfortunately, this collected Sheldon Creed and Stefan Parzival, who got a ton of damage. Stefan Parzival basically got bumped, and Brandon Jones really had nowhere to go to cause that. Because of that, NASCAR decided to red flag the race for about 23 minutes. And then we got back to a 3rd attempt for overtime, basically getting back to a 3rd attempt for the overtime restart with Anthony Alfredo on the inside and Trevor Bayne on the outside of the restart, with Anthony Alfredo attempting to try to go low, but crossover could not do it, and Cole Custer unfortunately fell back a ton of positions as Cole Custer took the white flag. Cole Custer had basically gotten a pretty big lead. We thought Noah Gragson may try to send it, but Cole Custer would come off the corner here in the Auto Club, and he would hold off a hard-charging Noah Gragson to pick up his first victory since 2019, and gets his first win with SS Greenlight Racing. This is also SS Greenlight Racing's first ever victory as an organization. Huge congratulations, SS Greenlight Racing. In my opinion, Cole Custer absolutely deserves a victory. I know he had to hold these guys off. He had arguably the fastest car. Yes, I know it's a Stewart-Haas Racing Pair car, and a lot of people are going to diss Joe Graf Jr. for that, even though really it is really a really fast car. Plus, the team is going to put a lot of effort because, of course, Cole Custer is the son of the president of SHR, which is Joe Custer. But huge congratulations to Cole Custer in picking up this. Maybe this experience will help him in the Cup Series race tomorrow. He'll hopefully have that experience, and maybe it will be able to help him. So now, let's go ahead and jump into the results of today's race. So Cole Custer picks up the first victory, and like I said, congratulations SS Greenlight Racing on getting their first victory as an organization. They've been a team that's worked very, very hard. Congratulations to them on that. Noah Gragson finished second. I think Noah Gragson was really the only car that really most of the day that really could contend against Cole Custer. I thought he was going to have a shot, but that pit stop really cost him in this race. But a very, very strong one for Noah Gragson regardless. He finishes in second. Trevor Bayne finishes third. You know, for a guy that's not racing in the Xfinity Series really for about 6 years now, it's not racing NASCAR for almost 2 years now, it really looked like he knew what he's doing out there again. Yes, I know the 18 car is an all-star car, but he was really, really fast all day. He won a stage in this race. He was not a fluke today. Unfortunately, the thing that cost him, in my opinion, was the pit crew, because that pit crew really cost him a shot. But once he get back in there and lost a lot of track position, he really lost an opportunity. But a third position place run regardless. I didn't think he was going to win, but I also didn't think it was going to run as well as he did. But a third place run, really good run from Trevor Bayne. Glad to see he's back in the Xfinity Series. Good run for Trevor Bayne in third position. Josh Berry finishes fourth. Josh Berry had a top 5 car most of the day. I expected Josh Berry to be a contender most of the day. Very strong run for Josh Berry. Does a good job. He finishes fourth in today's race. Anthony Alfredo finishes fifth. Now, Anthony Alfredo, I'll admit, really only got up there because of strategy, but I got to give a big shout out to Pat Tryson. Pat Tryson's been a crew chief for many, many years in the NASCAR Cup Series and also the Xfinity Series, and he did a great strategy call to play that right. And Anthony Alfredo, because of that, got a top 5 finish, and that will help him in the owner's point position and the points as well. Great run for him. He finishes in fifth with that strategy. Sam Mayer finishes sixth. You know, Sam Mayer has needed a really, really good run and needed to keep himself quiet. And he did a good job with doing that. Did not cause any problems out there. Kept it still this week after not a great week in the Daytona Xfinity race. He does a really, really good job. Gets top 10. He really needed that, and I'm glad he got a 6th place finish. He finishes in 6th. Adrian Allmendinger finishes 7th. You know, after basically going a lap down, having to come down pit road multiple times, after, like I said, losing a lap, he bounced back to a top 10 finish. Great bounce back for him. He finishes 7th. Justin Allgaier finishes 8th. I think Allgaier had a top 5 car in most of the race, but unfortunately for Justin Allgaier, what happened to him, unfortunately, was he basically lost it at the end, basically lost, I think, a lot of ground. Unfortunately, these restarts really killed his opportunity to contend for the victory, but a top 10 regardless. Good run for him. Riley Hurst finishes 9th. Riley Hurst is really nowhere to be seen, but getting a top 10 run, that's really good for him. He finishes 9th. And Ryan Sieg finished 10th. You know, Ryan Sieg actually had to come down pit road, I believe, for a flat tire early in the race, and basically was able to bounce back to a top 10 run. I expect that 39 team all year to be better. Good run from Ryan Sieg. He finishes in 10th. Brandon Brown finishes 11th. Brandon Brown actually spun earlier in the race like we talked about and bounced back to the top 15 finish with an 11th place run. Good run for Brandon Brown. Daniel Hemrick finishes 12th. Daniel Hemrick was really kind of disappointing today, especially after really having some decent pace in qualifying. I thought he was going to be a little better than he was today. He probably was a 6th, 7th place car. It's probably just not being here for the last couple years is why. I think Daniel will be a championship threat this year, but man, I expect a little better from Daniel, but he gets 12th in today's race. Ty Gibbs finishes 13th. You know, Ty Gibbs had a tire disadvantage, unfortunately, that really cost him an opportunity. I think he had a top 5 car. I don't think he had a winning car to go up against Cole Custer in this race, but I think he could have had a top 3 or top 4 car. But he does get a 13th place finish. Not a bad run for Ty Gibbs, though. Jeb Burton finishes 14th. Jeb Burton, they never mention him, and he gets top 15 finish. Kept day very, very quiet. Saw top 15 for the Hour Motorsports group. Again, the Hour Motorsports size, Brent Moffitt, all gets good finishes. Good for him, 14th. Joe Graf Jr. in the 38 car finishes 15th. You know, I was not happy that Joe Graf Jr. got into the car instead of Timmy Hill, but his commitments and stuff. But hey, top 15 run from Joe Graf Jr. Kept it quiet all day. Good run from Joe Graf Jr. in 15th. Kyle Weatherman finished 16th. He was in the top 10 at one point in this race and was really, really fast today. Ran top 20, top 25 most of the day. Gets 16th place finish. Good run for Kyle Weatherman. I think he carried that Mike Harmon race coming because they really struggled in the qualifying today. Good run for Kyle Weatherman. He finishes in 16th. Jeremy Clements finished in 17th. Kind of disappointed because he was really fast in practice today and was decent in qualifying. Kind of a disappointing run for Jeremy Clements, and they nearly needed a bounce back run. They kind of did get that, but also didn't get that at the same time. Kyle C. finishes 18th. Didn't even get to really have a qualifying attempt today, but he gets top 20 regardless. And all the RSS cars got top 20s. Good run for the organizations today. Brett Moffitt did after the flat tire. Unfortunately, finishes 19th. Brett Moffitt at one point was in 4th or 5th position. So, unfortunately, he was running top 10 most of the race. So, it's unfortunate to see that he didn't get the finish he deserved. But at top 20 regardless, not a bad run for him. Joey Gase finishes 20th. Holy crap, that new organization got a top 20. The Emerlin Gase Motorsports organization, whatever the team's name is, they got a top 20. They kept it clean all day, and they got a top 20 in this race. Good run for them. Josh Williams finishes 21st. Not a bad run for him. 21st. JJ Lee finishes 22nd. Matt Mills finishes 23rd. Alex Bay finishes 24th. Kaz Grall finishes in 25th. Meyer, after having his issues, and good to see that Meyer was back on the racetrack after his horrendous crash at Daytona last week. He finishes 26th after tire goes down. Austin Hill finishes 27th. He did bounce back a little bit. I think he ended up finishing a lap down in this race. But unfortunately, the caution never fell at the right time for him. And unfortunately, people started going a lap down as soon as he's about to get laps back. It's unfortunate what happened to him, but he still finishes 27th. But he's still locked into class regardless as of right now. Mason Massey finished 28th. Jeffrey Earner finished 20th. Jeffrey Earner, I really don't know what happened to him. He was in the top 10, top 12 a lot of this race. I think he had overheating problems, had battery issues is what I heard. It may have had issues, which is unfortunate. But he finished 29th. Not a great run for him today, though. Seth Parts finishes 30th after crashing out. Tommy Joe Martins finishes 31st. Sheldon Creedy after crashing out late, he finishes in 32nd. Brandon Jones, after having a pretty good car today and crashing and spinning multiple times, he finishes 33rd. Bailey Curry, after having tire problems, he finishes in 34th. Ryan Vargas, who basically the car stopped working, he finishes 35th. Jesse Wuji, after having his issues, finishes 36th. Jay Buford, after his crash, after having a good run, he finishes 37th. And Landon Cass, after blowing up, finishes in 30th and in last position. So now let's talk about the Xfinity Series race, and I'll give you my score for today's NASCAR Xfinity Series race. I thought that this Xfinity Series race was really good in my opinion. Yes, I know this Xfinity Series race lasted almost 3.5 to 4 hours today. But one thing I love about Xfinity and I love about this race, and again, I was really worried this race really wasn't going to be that good. But you could pass here. You can get side by side with guys. You can draft with these guys. And you can do really good work and create some really awesome racing. And it's not just about the leader. There was racing behind a leader that was so fun to watch, especially at points when you have 3rd to 8th at one point. That was really close together. And that's one thing about Auto Club, especially with the Xfinity Series package, that makes it very fun. It wasn't a perfect race, don't get me wrong, but I thought it was a very solid race. So, my score for today's NASCAR Xfinity Series race, Auto Club Speedway, you know what? I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I'm going to give 8.5 out of 10. The only reason I'm not giving it a 9 out of 10 or a 9.5 out of 10 is at points it was kind of dry in stage number 2, and at points it was kind of dry in stage number 3. But there was a lot of really awesome. Actually, I'll change the score a 9 out of 10. But it was a really strong Xfinity Series race, especially after a good race at Daytona last week. Very good race. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for this weekend's race at Auto Club. So anyway, that is today's race review from Auto Club Speedway. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications to be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Link description below for that, and comment below your thoughts on today's race. What are your thoughts on today's race? Let me know below. Let me know your score in the comments below, and congratulate Cole Custer on winning the Xfinity Series race and SS Greenlight for picking up their first victory as an organization. Tomorrow we've got the NASCAR Cup Series race, and man, if it's going to be like this race, it's going to be absolutely chaotic. There have been a lot of issues in prior qualifying, so I expect it to be a caution fest. We're also going to have a starting grid video that's going to drop tomorrow morning as well to get you set for the race later in the day. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.